Hello, everybody. We've just wrapped up an in-person client update that we held at KPMG's headquarters. And I'm here together with my colleagues from the EU Tax Center, Raluca and Marco. And I would like to ask you, Raluca, how did you find the discussions today?
It was very engaging, actually, and I think we were all a bit surprised to have so many people in the room, given that it's still a holiday period and some people are closing the month as well. But it seems like because there's so much happening, people were interested to come and have the conversation with us. We had a really interactive session, and yeah, I think it was a good discussion. And I think it was very interesting in the context of what's happening in Romania now with the budget deficit and the fiscal measures packages, and to put that into the European context and try to look at what those measures might mean if we put a European lens on them, and if there's any maybe lack of compliance with European rules. So I think it was a very engaging and topical discussion.
Another main topic that was of interest today was Pillar 2. And the conclusion is that Romania is already taking the latest steps to align its legislation. And the government ordinance that was published last week is an example in this area. What about at the level of the OECD? What can we expect to happen in the short to medium term?
Yes, so end of June, we have seen the G7 statement issued on a side-by-side system, so to address the US concerns in relation to Pillar 2, and we're now seeing discussions happening at OECD inclusive framework level on the technical specifics around that. So I think what we understand is that the aim is to exclude US groups from IIR and UTPR. Our understanding is also that QDMTT shall remain in place, so that countries can still apply QDMTT, because there was a question whether the US would accept that, or whether they would ask countries to remove QDMTTs or provide some sort of relief for US taxes, but that doesn't seem to be the case. We also see discussions on the treatment of incentives at an inclusive framework level. So there are now discussions on broadening the scope of incentives that are subject to a beneficial treatment under the Pillar 2 rules. Currently, that only relates to qualified refundable tax credits and marketable transferable tax credits. And now there are discussions on opening that to potentially non-refundable tax credits or other types of incentives like super deductions, for example, but with a requirement that they should target economic substance. So in the end, we might see some changes to how Pillar 2 treats local incentives. That will also be interesting for countries currently thinking about how to potentially redesign incentives to align with Pillar 2 requirements. So I think those are the main takeaways. Work is ongoing at OECD inclusive framework level. QDMTTs will remain in place, but there might be changes to the incentive treatment.
Very interesting. Thank you, Marco. And going back at the level of the EU, Raluca, I would like to ask you, what are the main priorities on the agenda of the commissions right now?
So importantly, since this new version of the European Commission took over, they have been focusing on simplification and competitiveness. So I think compared to the previous 5 to 10 years, where we have seen a huge push towards harmonization, so more legislation, more attempts to align corporate tax legislation of the member states, we are now seeing a stop on that and a switch to trying to simplify the EU tax system and make it more competitive. We know that the European Commission is assessing the functioning of a number of direct tax directives, including the parent subsidiary directive, the interest and royalties directive, the merger directive, the anti-tax avoidance directive, the mandatory disclosure rules under DAC 6, all of which have already been implemented by Romania. Now we're going to see some reports on how these directives have been functioning, and potentially once those reports are published, the European Commission might come up with proposals to update those directives to make them more suitable for the current environment and potentially to simplify things. Now we are not very optimistic about very big changes, but it's encouraging to see that there is this trend towards simplification. In theory, based on what we have heard so far, we will probably see a package of proposals for simplification in the tax field in early 2026. But as we all know, in order for tax legislation to be adopted or for changes to existing tax legislation to be adopted, all EU member states have to agree. So one step is for the European Commission to make these proposals, but from then for the proposals to actually become reality, that's a long way ahead. So we need to monitor in the next 6 months what will happen. But as I said, it's encouraging to see that the focus is on competitiveness. And let's see how that will impact Romania as well. All of these directives are very important for Romania too. So if there will be any changes, I think that will be something that will be of interest to taxpayers that operate in Romania as well.
Thank you very much, both. A strategic perspective that gives us a glance at the things that we can expect in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks.